Scene script. Have you ever seen something so beautiful that you wanted it all to yourself? Well, this is exactly what happened to a little frog named Fred. In the heart of a lush green forest, Fred called a gorgeous, sparkling pond his home. This was no ordinary pond. Its surface shimmered and shone like 1,000 diamonds under the sun, casting a magical glow on everything nearby. Fred, our little amphibian friend, was absolutely smitten with this natural wonder. He loved the way the morning light danced on the water's surface, the way the cool water felt against his skin, and the soothing sounds of the pond's gentle ripples. But Fred had a problem. He loved the pond so much that he didn't want to share it with anyone else. The fish, the ducks, the insects, he wished they could all go away. He wished this sparkling pond, this beautiful piece of paradise, could be his and his alone. But even though Fred loved the pond, he wasn't happy. You see, Fred wanted the sparkling pond all to himself. One day, Fred decided to take action. He wanted the pond to himself, and he was determined to make it happen. Our friend Fred, a lively and intelligent frog, had an idea, a plan that would make his wish come true. He yearned for the day when he wouldn't have to share the cool, refreshing water of the pond with anyone else. He craved the quiet and solitude that came with being the sole occupant of the sparkling water body. Fred, with his quick mind and silver tongue, began to spin tales that would send shivers down the spines of all the other creatures. He began to whisper about a dreadful monster that lived in the depths of the pond, a creature so terrifying, so monstrous, that even the bravest of animals would tremble at the mere mention of it. The rumors began to spread like wildfire, causing panic and fear among the animals. They began to avoid the pond, their once beloved place of rest and recreation. The ducks no longer swam peacefully across the pond, the deer stopped coming to quench their thirst, and even the little insects kept their distance. Soon, the once bustling pond was deserted. The songs of the birds no longer echoed around the pond. The playful splashing of the water by the ducks was no more. The ripples caused by the deer drinking water had disappeared. The pond was silent, save for the occasional croaking of Fred, the sole occupant of the once lively pond. Fred had achieved what he had set out to do. He was victorious. The pond was his, and his alone. But as he sat there in the vast expanse of the quiet pond, he couldn't help but feel a twinge of sadness. The laughter, the chatter, the joy that once filled the air was gone. Fred was victorious. The pond was his, and his alone. But was he really happy? As Fred looked around at the empty pond, that question echoed in his mind. Now you might think that Fred was overjoyed. After all, he had gotten what he wanted, right? But not long after, a strange feeling washed over him. The pond, once filled with laughter and chatter, was now eerily quiet. As he looked around, he felt a pang of loneliness. The other animals, his friends, were nowhere to be seen. Their absence made the pond seem less vibrant, less alive. It was as though the sparkle of the pond had dimmed. Fred began to miss the company of his friends. He missed their laughter, their playful banter, and even their occasional squabbles. It was then that he realized the magnitude of his actions. His greed had driven his friends away, leaving him alone in a once lively pond. His victory, it seemed, wasn't a victory at all. Fred realized that his victory was a lonely one. His greed had cost him his friends, and the pond didn't seem so beautiful anymore. So, what can we learn from Fred's story? Well, Fred's tale is a timeless reminder that greed can lead us down a lonely path. His insatiable desire for all the sparkling gems in the pond blinded him to the joy of sharing and companionship. He wanted everything for himself, but in doing so, he lost the very thing that made his life truly beautiful, his friends. You see, having all the riches in the world can't compare to the warmth of shared laughter, the comfort of a friend's presence, or the happiness that comes from giving. Fred learned this the hard way. He realized that his greed had cost him his friendships, leaving him with a hollow victory, alone with his gems. Fred's story teaches us that greed is not good. It shows us the value of sharing, of enjoying life's pleasures with others. So remember, greed is not good. Like Fred, we might end up losing what we truly love. It's better to share and enjoy things with others because that's what makes life truly beautiful.